Greetings, Tommy Jane here. This is just a sound check right now. It'll probably be a little bit before I get into the prayers. I'll probably talk some until some people show up. I don't like to start prayers unless there are 10 people watching. That's customs of my people. I call myself an unorthodox Jew because my practice is rainbow, where I was educated bar mitzvah by Louis Binstock, who was a omnist, ecumenicist, who encouraged us to learn about other religions and participate in their ceremonies and celebrations from the perspective of our Jewish identities, which I've done all my life. So my spiritual practice is mainly a combination of just traditional Yiddishkeit and Native American medicine way. And I need to check the sound because, as you can see, the camera is not at my desk right now. Someone want to tell me how the sound is? Tell me how the sound is? Never mind, it's good. All right, we have two people here. I'll take questions about anything. I see one person is here that likes me and another one doesn't. I'm just kind of running my mouth a little bit. I'll start out by reading the article announcing what happened. Award-winning. Let's go away, ads. Come on, get out of my face. This is from the Native News Online. Award-winning Native American journalist Myron Dewey, founder of Digital Smoke Signals, passes away. There's a photo of Myron in front of holding his drone and standing in front of a sign that says, "Water is life, mini wichoni." And in Hebrew, water is life is said, Mayim zeh hachayim. And this is out of Yamba, Nevada by Darren Thompson. Today, Myron Dewey, a filmmaker, professor, and journalist, passed away in a fatal car accident early Sunday morning in Yamba, Nevada. Sources confirmed to Native News Online. He was 49. I believe Sam Kinison passed away in a wreck out in the middle of nowhere, Nevada. Let's do more. What else? This is nothing about that. I'm feeling like that car had help crashing. They have good reason to get rid of him, and you'll understand why when I read the rest of this. Dewey founded Digital Smoke Signals, a media production company that shared live frontline footage during the 2016 protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline near the Standing Rock Indian Reservation in North Dakota. His drone footage of the protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline garnered recognition for the cause and elevated his status as a journalist covering environmental and indigenous issues. Dewey was arrested while covering the Standing Rock resistance and faced a Class A misdemeanor charge related to his use of the drone. He faced up to a year imprisonment and $2,000 fine. The charge was eventually dropped. Dewey received numerous awards for his journalism and media production, including the Michelle Moore Award for Community Journalism, the Man of the Year Award from Medicine Wins News. In 2018, he was given an Award of Merit by the University of Kansas Department of Film and Media Studies. In 2017, he was a winner of the New York City Drone Film Festival in the category of news documentary for a short film monitoring North Dakota police at the No Dapple protest site. Dewey also co-directed the award-winning 2017 film Awake, A Dream from Standing Rock, which tells the story of the native-led peaceful resistance and fight for clean water, the environment, and the future of the planet on the Standing Rock Indian Reservation. Dewey is Shoshone and Paiute from the Pyramid Lake Paiute Reservation, 35 miles northeast of Reno. He leaves behind an 11-year-old son. Details on the funeral arrangements will be published when they are announced by the family. This is a developing story. I don't believe that was an accident. I just don't. That's just, I don't. I'm sorry. I can't. My posting about this, let me go back to it. We don't need to do a double posting of that. We'll get rid of that. In Hobby Lobby, somebody set up a display that of big letters, big decorative letters, spelling out "Abort Abbott" in a Hobby Lobby in Texas. So when the story broke, it broke from Wanialock, and all she said was prayers up for water protectors, Standing Rock, no DAPL, and mini Waconii movement. I guess the land back folks are different. You know, first of all, I've been associated with Native activism since the mid-'80s. I met John Trudell in Venice Beach and a number of other people in Venice Beach, and I participated in a pipe ceremony on the harmonic convergence in the middle '80s, whenever that was led by Archie Waindeer. I've been around with it. I am one of the first generation rainbow hippies, and I'm a total outcast with the rainbow family of living blight that corrupted the vision, and it never was what they said it would be, and it just keeps getting worse every year. And the privileged white people that run the gatherings think they're doing something good, and they're really just doing the work of the other side. Me and mine have always associated ourselves with the natives in helping them with community building projects, protecting the environment with them on their sacred lands. You know, that's what we've been about since the Alcatraz occupation. So I met Trudell and got hooked up with all the white folk that were connected to them. That I didn't really even understand this. You know, I didn't know the significance of John at that time. I didn't know what he was about until later. You know, I was just hanging out with these rainbow hippies that were, you know, and what was his name? Daryl Tierney, the Earth First guy, was part of that crowd in the '80s when I was out there. You know, I'm that kind of hippie. We're the artisans. You know, we make stuff and support ourselves, and then, you know, donate our excess resources and time to these kinds of environmental protection and, you know, social justice issues. This is what me and my people have always been about. And you know, I'm kind of semi-retired because I had a near fatal accident in 1999, and that I never really fully recovered from. I'm still having some residual issues right now that I need to have some surgery soon to have the plate removed from my jaw, because I'm suffering from chronic infection there. That's got my whole the whole left side of my face, from my thyroid to my to where it comes out in my jaw, is all inflamed all the time. That's where most of this cough is coming from. This is keeping my airway clear from the metabolites of, you know, constantly having to fight off infection coming in through that open port of entry on my gum. That's what's going on with that cough. I just had you know, I mean, that was the conclusion that the allergist came to, was we need to deal with that plate, and before my smoking makes it turn cancerous, which is where we're at, because I gotta get that plate out. So when I posted this, a picture of Marlin and Myron. And I don't know who the lady is in the picture, whether that's his wife or one of the other water protectors. All I said at that time was breaking: Myron Dewey, producer and director of Digital Smoke Signals, who documented the siege of the water protectors of the Ocheyesakoyatan movement in Standing Rock, has left the building. No other details are available at this time. And then I put in a bunch of tags: end American genocide, ready with a question mark, followed by aim, I don't know more, honor the earth, land back, retool for peace, build back green. Which is, this has been the basic focus. I got hooked into the native side of this at the 1989 Nevada gathering, where I was working a cleanup, and there were 2 crates full of propaganda from the Leonard Peltier Defense Committee, including like 20 pages or so at least of signed petitions that I resolved to take back to them in Lawrence, Kansas, because it was on my way back east from there, and stopped off at Lawrence and delivered the petitions. But I kept the info and kept a sign on my when I set up my stuff for a show. I had a table full of food, a table full of propaganda, and the rest was all free food, free propaganda, and stuff for sale. It was my trip always. And I had a sign out: this is free Leonard Peltier, and the Leonard Peltier stuff, and collected more signatures. I probably collected a couple thousand signatures for them over the next few years. I met his fiance, Yvonne Bushy-Had, in Washington at the end of our journey that year, and she arranged for a telephone conference between me and him while I was still in Leavenworth. Now, over the years, I've mostly been involved with the hemp, with just the Music and Arts Festival activism, Music and Arts Festival, music and arts activism, hippie music and arts activism, the Woodstock notion. So peace, love, and music is going to heal the world. And I've been with it since 1982. And since 26, I jumped right on board, because that's what I do. Is kind of it was called a hub in the old peer-to-peer networks. It's called being a hub, where I receive media from one place and distribute it all around. I'm bringing it in through my axle and putting it out through my spokes, and have been doing that for 22 years now. 23 going. It'll be 23 years in January. I've been doing this and sharing news and entertainment media for my networks. Now, over these years, I have to maintain focus, or there's just too much for me to keep up with. My main drive is world peace. Just stop the wars, retool for peace, and let's get on with living fair with, nobody hoarding wealth. Just, that stuff sitting in the bank, give it to people every month and let them spend it again. All these people with their offshore tax shelters, fuck you. Get back to the people and let them spend it, and you go and suck it back out of the economy when they spend it. What else? Where was I? I'm working toward getting 10 people together. Do we have 10 people here? Hi, Bob Dog. Happy day, man. What's Gunalchish? What language is that from? Myron is not here. Myron has left the building. He was in a fatal car accident in Nevada, and there's no other news yet. I think it wasn't an accident. I don't think he's just not the kind of. I don't. He's put on so many miles in the last few years. I just can't see it. What's this notification for? Fuck you, Facebook. I really hate Facebook with a passion. Just everything they do. Oh, and it's all a reflection of the programmers, starting with that skeevy Zionist pig. I mean, he is such a skeevy nerd. Yeah, he's worse than Gates. Now I've been putting up with Gates all these years, and this guy's worse. So I'm not really attracting much attention here. I got a couple of people. So let me go get things rolling up top. Let me find the cottage. Oh, you're getting good, kid. That looks like I hit it right on the page. Nope, that's not it. There it is. Okay. All righty. So up here on my, this is a perfect, not perfect, it's an imperfect, nice hippie altar. I don't have many stones on here because they're all on the table behind me, and I don't really have, everything around. I just got the stuff. I've got my candles and my incense burner, and I've got shelves full of incenses. So I don't have much in the way of herb incense. I've got some resins. I got some nice resins. And the incense burner, I don't know if you can see it. Let's hold it up a little bit. It's all packed with sage, rosemary, amber, and frankincense. And we're going to send up, first we're going to light the candles to let the universe know that we're seeking blessings of the good day. Now, what do I do with my matches? One thing about spiritual ceremony, the people that I've learned spiritual ceremonies of, and this particular piece of knowledge came directly from Ferguson Plain, or recently, he passed over last year. He's a Ojibwe Bear Clan speaker, educator, and artist. He taught me to do the native ceremonies, so the native smudging ceremonies, but use my people's, do it in my tongue. So I think we light the candles first, and that prayer for the good day, to bless the good day, is Baruch Atah Adonai. Praise to you, O Lord our God, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, King of the universe. Asher Kidshanu B'mitzvasav V'tzivanu Lahad L'gner Shal Yom Tov. I forget what those other ones. Okay, so the candles are going. Now, I've been having a lot of trouble with the charcoals. You cannot put anything on top of them, or they go out. I'm trying it now where, the little cups part, I was told you put that down, you put it on top of the stuff, and you don't put anything on top of the charcoal. So the prayer in Hebrew for, and actually it's entering the perfumery, I think it was, is the prayer, is Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Borei Minei V'Somim, which is that, bless you, O Lord, God, King of the universe, who's probably, this is like, who's given us good fragrances or something like that, is the translation for Borei Minei V'Somim. Now we'll make a little noise with the
with the spirit flutes. That's a real weird one. I don't even remember how it came to me. Probably from the garbage or something. Where's the other one? There's a smaller ocarina here somewhere. That's disappeared. Nah, I'm not happy with this one. I don't know how to make anything musical come out of this one. And I don't know where the ocarina, the sweet potato is. I don't know what happened to it. Where'd it go? Are you down here somewhere? Shit. Might have gotten all the way to the floor or behind. I don't know. I don't see it. But I got my flute handy somewhere. Shit, I had. Oh, it's right in the prayer book. The Warner's Kaddish is Yiskadav Yiskadash Meraba. Biamad Ibra Kiruse, Biamlich Malchuse, Bechayachon U Yomachon, Uchaye Decha Bes Yisrael, Bagalai Vizman Karib, Biamru, Amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mibrach Olom Ulome Olomaya. Yeheshme Rabba Mibrach Olom Ulome Olomaya. Vias Barak, Vias Tabak, Vias Prar, Vias Ramam, Vias Nase, Vias Hador, Vias Ale, Vias Alal, Shemay de Kudisha Barifu. Lelo Minka, Birkasa, Bisirasa, Tishbakasa, Bidekhamasa, Damiran Bialma, Vimru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabo Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu V'Akol Yisrael. V'Amaru Amen. O Aseh Shalom B'Mromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. V'Akol Yisrael. V'Amaru Amen. And the song today, I wish I knew the melody. Hayom Rom Risham Bashabas Sheba Hayu Habiyayim Omrim Bives Vamichdos LeDavid Michmar Ladonai Haaretz Umla'o Teval Ve'yashve'o Ki hu al yamin yesado ve'al nechoros yichanecha. Wait till you hear the English for this one, folks. I'm just winging it on the melody. Miyale bihar Adonai umi yokum binkom katsho nikicha payim ubar ve'edbav. Asher la nasa la shabs nachi. Veloy nishba le mirmo yisa biracha me sadanai. Uzdoko me Elohe yisho zedor dish dorshav mivachshe panesho Yaakov selo su shorim roshechem v'hinosu piskei olam v'yava melech hakobod Mize Melech HaKavod. Adonai Zeus Gibor, Adonai Gibor Michomo. Oh, I think I know the melody for that. Oh no, that's not the one. Susharim Roshechem Usa Pishke Alam. V'yaba Melech HaKavod, Mihu Ze Melech HaKavod. Actually, that should read more like Mihu Ze Melech HaKavod. Adonai Tzivaos Hu Melech HaKavod Selo. That's the Sunday night song, and it is the which it's a psalm, but I don't know which one it is. Psalm 24? No. Is it? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Wait a minute. What? I'm confused. What's the one that the earth? I thought 24 was the earth is the Lord's. 23 is the shadow of the valley of death, right? So, those are the two that I usually. This one reads, "Today is the first day of the Sabbath, on which." Oh well, this isn't the song. This was the introduction to the song that I was trying to sing. Today is the first day of the Sabbath on which the Levites would recite in the Holy Temple of David a psalm. Hashem's is the earth and its fullness. Oh yeah, this is it. That's just a different translation. This is the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. This one reads. This is a different translation of it. Hashem is the earth and its fullness, the inhabited land and those who dwell in it. For he founded it upon the seas and established it upon the rivers. Now who may ascend the mountain of Hashem? And who may stand in the place of his sanctity? One with clean hands and pure heart, who has not sworn in vain by my soul, and has not sworn deceitfully. He will receive a blessing from Hashem, and just kindness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of those who seek him, those who strive for your presence, Jacob. Selah. Raise up your heads, O gates, and be uplifted, you everlasting entrances, so that the King of glory may enter. And who is this King of glory? The Lord Adonai, the mighty and strong, the strong in battle. Raise up your head, O gates, and raise up, you everlasting entrances, so that, that's just a repeat of that. As so that the King of glory may enter. And who then is this King of glory? That is Hashem, Master of Legions. He is the King of glory. And this particular psalm, Myron's on his way home. And I can assure you that he will be blessed when he gets there for the work that he did in this world. Well, this isn't really working real well. Let's see, we can't get it going. Smells good. But it seems to be like not wanting to burn on the bottom. I don't know. I give up with these things. So that's the prayers for Myron. And we'll get back to my desk. I might just shut this off so keep it focused on that and maybe start up again or hope the dumb shit and go out of here. But this is really devastating news to me. Hey Jacob, good evening. Thank you. Thank you. And I think I forget whether it's Lakota or Ojibwe. It's Megwitz. I might as well bring the camera back to this back to my desk, right? So I've been, Garrett Beck calls it the New World culture. Kind of distinguish it from the New Age hucksterism, I suppose. I don't know, but it's been Garrett's trip and all. This is New Age culture. Yeah, I've been, as you can see, I haven't been in the shower today, so I didn't say it. But hey, so what? I didn't go anywhere. But to keep it in focus on human rights issues and ecological issues, this is where I've been. I wanted to be an aquanaut, and I studied what I needed to study to prepare myself for a career like that. And I went to the Navy with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Biology and a fisheries specialty, and a scuba certificate that had been signed by the guy that wired Normandy Beach. Was teaching scuba in Lakeview after he retired. We couldn't come to terms, and I bounced around, found a job in medical research. That didn't work out because I just couldn't stand the animal torture around me. And I tried to get in a job into a position in my field out west, and found the doors locked, and tried to get a job in the aquarium industry again, and that didn't work out. And I ended up on Venice Beach getting retrained by the married pranksters and Rainbow family that were camping out in Rose Avenue parking lot. And this is what it's that tune in, drop out, tune in, turn on, drop out. It was like my generation realized the unsustainability of the industrial way of life. The machines are all wrong. They're attempting to control nature when all they have to do is live within nature, and things are fine. But instead, you have to put up with like bugs and weeds and things like that. But eradicating all this shit has brought us to this point where the climate's we're on the brink of climate collapse. That with no biodiversity to hold back the weather just keeps getting worse until the biodiversity is going to come back enough to they've known this for 50 years at least. And that was what Myron was about, was documenting all of this. He's all over the various blockades and stuff that Native people were trying to put up against the encroachment of the extraction industries and pipelines and shit. Now, I don't know if you ever got down here, but there's been vigils going on at the border for quite some time, and it's been a couple of years now at least that there's an Apache medicine man been sitting up on Oak Flat, protecting it. You know, there's a big fight to stop the Rosemont mine here because of native land. The border wall, my God, the total disregard for the environment and the ancestral and you know sacred sites that Trump's construction crews. Oh my God, what they were doing through here. I don't have the details of Texas, but they were doing the same thing in Texas. But I'm like, these are my neighbors, whose ancestral graves were getting dug up. God, it's just insane. And it keeps getting worse. Listen, look at this shit. This is fucking outrageous. Let's get back to this. Oh, here's what Sam. Let's see what Sam says. Sam, my friend Sam Siddiqui's a. Well, shit. What do we got here? That's a wood roach. I'll leave him alone. He'll find his way back outside. Or he'll eat some of the poison that got left behind and tough shit. He might be climbing up the wall, getting ready to die. So here's Sam Siddiqui, is a biologist in India, an amateur historian, and really good gonzo journalist. I mean, she's, you know, since the lockdown, she's been covering that shit over in India pretty well. And here is something from the India Express. The Mopla rebellion has been, and I think that was the uprising of the farmers. Oh no, that wasn't the recent one. The Mopla rebellion has been articulated by our historians and scholars as a peasant uprising against the British and the Hindu landlords patronized by them. In 1971, the governments of Kerala had officially recognized the active participants in the events as freedom fighters. And what this is a story about history, I guess. And the Mopla rebellion happened in 1929, and they're saying it was a planned genocide of Hindu by jihadi elements of the state. I guess they're getting it back to I don't know. I mean, you know, like people, religions have a tendency to commit mass murder against each other. It's really hard to keep up with who did what to who over the course of thousands of years. It's a really good site I refer people to, www.mapsofwar.com, that shows it graphically, like the expansion and collapse of empire for the last 5,000 years. And nothing's really fucking changed anywhere significantly other than the sophistication of population management methodology and the efficacy of the implements of mass murder. Otherwise, you've still got the same. I mean, a lot of authors will claim it's the same families that are doing it. Buckminster Fuller described them as the great pirates, who were these are the traders and outlaws, you know, murderous pimps that controlled the trade routes, particularly the sea lanes, between these competing fiefdoms, and they'd set up puppet governments on either end and play both ends from the middle when it was time to make a war for some reason or another. And it goes on today. I mean, you've got the Soros crowd is financing the you know, they're the ones that are printing up all the propaganda for the left wingers and the, you know, the merch and stuff for BLM and them, and then the Koch brothers are financing all that shit for the right wingers, and then you got the real controllers. The Rothschild Morgan crowd over there in Europe just doesn't give a fuck what happens. All they want to do is like make money off the sale of the weapons. You know, they're playing. They're the brokers of all this. They just get a little piece of the action, and the more shit that people do to each other, the better they like it. Now the problem is that, you know, the optimal condition, you know, the best ROI for this crowd is to have little bush wars, little infra-national conflicts going on, little civil conflicts where, you know, the conservatives and the conservatives and the liberals don't like what the other one's trying to do, and they got to start fighting. And or a little something like Palestine, they've been able to milk for 100 years, where you got religious nationalist Jews and religious nationalist Muslims backed by with the Jews backed by the religious nationalist Christians, who were actually a bunch of apocalyptic ones who were hoping that the Jews and the Muslims were going to start an Armageddon so that Jesus will come back. Or something. It's just totally crazy in the Middle East. Anyway, let's focus on this Mopla rebellion. I guess they rebelled this week again. This Mopla, they do that, I guess, now and then. That's hard to say. I mean, that's just very confusing. Whether I'm not sure if they're talking about 1921 or 1971 or 2021 here. It's just oh geez, that's what it is. They're fighting over whether to make a genocide memorial because they don't agree that there was really a genocide and that it's been going on for 100 years. That the Malabar has been going on for 100 years. Okay, it's just the same shit everywhere, all over the world. It takes little slight different twists and turns. So here's what Sam had to say about it earlier. All this enlightenment. This is why bodies are floating in the rivers. Uttar Pradesh's unemployment rate increased 11.4 percentage points, rising to 21.5 in April 2020, according to a survey conducted by the Center for Monitoring in Indian Economy. Over a longer time period, unemployment has moved from 2.1 in July 2017 to its current rate. So I totally didn't get the politics that was going on in there at all. I was just seeing all this stuff about the genocide and the rebellion. So I gave her a link to a story about why what's up with the bodies on the riverbanks. And she come back with, in India, we have a saying, Gade murde ukhadna. It means pointless obsession with the past, but literally it means digging up the bodies. That's India today in a nutshell. Since we are incapable of rational governance, we dwell on caste, religion, and communalism, which is pretty much what's going on here. The same shit, just with Christians and Jews instead of Muslims and Hindus. Oh yeah, and let's not forget all the others. It's like it's like this Judeo-Christian thing against everybody else. Is what's going on here. And it's never, America's never been great for anybody that wasn't a greedy, rich person of European descent. And you really had to be pretty wealthy to not really suffer in America some way or another. And today the system's rigged that if you're born into poverty, it's rigged to keep you there. And so that moves us into another thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Uncle Ralph Nader. Uncle Ralph Nader posted this on a Friday night. Teach youngsters about corporatism's harms. If you think, and this is like Kiwi farmers, clean the shit out of your ears and listen real carefully to my words as I read these. Because this is what you are. You are the product of this corporate crap education system. No, you are the product of corporatism's harm in the education system. I really got to do something about that plate. No matter what I do, no matter how little tobacco I smoke, it just stays. This is about the best it gets. It's like a few times a day I have to cough real hard to clear it. So, If you think elementary, middle, and high school students know too little about history, geography, and government, try asking them about the corporations that command so many hours of their day, their attention, what they consume, and their personal horizons. Howard Zinn published A Young People's History of the United States, 2009, to go with his best-selling pioneering work, A People's History of the United States, in 1980. But he didn't do justice to all the modern corporate controls of just about every facet of American life, including educational institutions. Today, school children are engulfed by corporate apps and software, textbooks biased toward the corporate definitions of an economy, and myths about free markets. For years, free school materials and videos produced or sponsored by business groups, including the coal and nuclear industries, have flooded elementary classes. Our report, Hucksters in the Classroom, a review of industry propaganda in schools by Sheila Hardy in 1979, documented this mercantile assault on education. Students even take tests designed by corporate institutions. 11-year-olds have asked me, what is a corporation? Teenagers ask, what's corporate crime or what's a company union? These are the same youngsters who click on the handcuffing fine print contracts of internet companies that own social media apps such as Instagram and TikTok. These are the same youngsters who are lied to daily by corporations about harmful junk foods and drugs, and whose parents overwhelmingly work in anti-union offices and factories. Forget about students knowing or learning about the commons, although they listen to music broadcast on the public airwaves and probably have visited a national park. For more on the commons, Think Like a Commoner, A Short Introduction to the Life of the Commons by David Bollier. Students haven't studied. I probably should see if that looks like a freebie that I should save to my page. I have one page that I collect all these like things that Big Brother doesn't want us to read that we can read for free on the internet. Students haven't studied corporate welfare, even though tax-paying parents subsidize those government giveaways, handouts, and bailouts to the demanding, mismanaged, or criminal corporations with power. Schools forever have separated students from giant slices of reality, historical and contemporary. Much of this ignored or distorted reality shapes present conditions, such as the various controls of the many by the few. But today's corporate plutocracy is at a different level of penetration altogether. Shucking past taboos, corporate marketeers hard sell directly to children, bypassing or undermining parental authority. What they sell is obesity, diabetes, promiscuity, dangerous addictions, and violence in their merciless entertainment programs, and narratives about armed force, however illegal it may be. In terms of sheer time, range of exposure, and planned peer group pressures, corporations are raising our children day and night. Big companies do strategic planning about everything affecting our children. There are no longer adequate limits and boundaries on corporatism or protections of commercial-free zones. It's getting worse. Eyewear for augmented reality from Facebook and rapidly expanding artificial intelligence induce dependency and more sedentary living. People from Bill Joy to Stephen Hawking to Elon Musk have strongly warned about these emerging technologies and the consequential loss of freedom and democracy. I'd like to invite some open-minded educators to consider a 6-hour curricula for late middle school through high school students on the modern global corporation. Hour 1 could be called Big Corporations Are Different from You and Me, illuminating this fast dominating artificial person with all the rights of real humans, yet structurally escaping from responsibility, a status of privileges and immunities under corporate lawlessness. Hour 2 could be devoted to the history of corporate power, so heavily characterized by the cost of their amassing wealth, costs to workers, communities, small businesses, voters, consumers, patients, our governing ways. And yes, students, having been told repeatedly about how companies built America, students should learn about all the NOs. Corporations were operating entrenched against the abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, union organizing, the minimum wage, universal health insurance, early solar energy, mass transit, public campaign financing, and government institutional accountable to the citizenry. The most recent big no's are against consumer, labor, and environmental justice. And of course, waging peace instead of forever wars of mayhem and profit have filled our volumes of documentation. And it's also like made $21 trillion disappear from our treasury into the private bank accounts of a small number of billionaires since 1999. Hour 3 might run students through all the attempts and reforms by the American people to rein in the destructive, unjust excesses of large companies and their controlling ideology of corporatism. What were the results from all those widespread protests, regulatory actions, prosecutions, and electoral reforms? What are the successes of the peace movement, environmental groups, and initiatives by workers, consumers, creators, and defenders of the commons, such as the public lands and public airwaves? Investors and savers for justice and the common good? What happened to the corporate tax system? Well, Ronnie Reagan trashed that. The drive for shareholder rights and corporate democracy, and most importantly, the rule of law over corporate power. Well, it backed the court too. Hour 4, 5, and hour 6, well, to be continued. That is, if we hear from people interested enough in having this proposal described further, which I certainly did send him. I forgot if I thanked him and complimented him on his consistently concise, coherent, I forgot what the third word I used was. Just thanked him for being Ralph Nader and pointing out the things that are wrong with America and offering solutions. And told him that I've been following the evolution of all this since the Dewey deal in the coup of 1963, that empowered the Carlyle group of, likes of George Bush and Dick Cheney and that crowd, Donnie Rumsfeld and all. And these are the people that, at least of my generation, there were others before them, but they gained control of the executive branch in Dallas. There have been a lot of shit going on already with Donovan and Casey and Kissinger back into even the late 30s with those guys as far as clandestine operations go. And really, it just keeps going back, This has never been America. The American Revolution was not, even if it was a popular uprising, which I just, I'm not going to argue about that. The people who ended up in control are just industrialists that are beholden to the European bankers. It's always been that way. Washington, Jefferson, Adams, all them guys. Franklin, they're being run from Europe. The Bush family has been partnered with the Brown Harriman banking group in Boston for all the way back, and Saul Bush and George Herbert Walker were financed by Abel Harriman Brown during the Reconstruction years. It's all bullshit. It's been nothing but bullshit. This country is founded on lies, land theft, murder, and slavery. And we spread it all over the world. And it really isn't our lies, land theft, murder, and slavery, because it's really the Rothschild Morgan crowd running through the Vatican Bank and through the Bank of England. These are the colonizers of the world. Everybody else is just useful idiots to them. And there are some authors I can trace their bloody footprints to them. Bunch of the Dutch Jews, the De Beers and Guggenheims, Oppenheimer, that crowd. The DuPonts are real traceable through back a few hundred years. This Bill Gates' family back in the like the 13th and 14th century. They were just, landed gentry with a bunch of preachers and farmers, and what the class that class built in ancient time. What went down was the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the Essenes. Okay, and it was a peasant rebellion. And among the Jews, you have the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the Essenes. The Sadducees were the merchant class. The Pharisees were the priests, and the Essenes were the ascetic, the intellectual Jews. The Rabbi Hillel was thought to have been one of Jesus' teachers. Rabbi Akiva, who right about the same time, shortly after Jesus, the movie, Rabbi Akiva refused to stop teaching Shema, and they pulled him out of his place and flayed him, and he died with his skin. He died with Shema on his lips and the skin hanging down on him like a skirt, with 100 spears in him. That was the Essenes, the great rabbis of that period. And Jesus was just one of them. And what a Hasidic rabbi thought was that the miracles were legit, but Jesus wasn't supposed to do them in public, and that's what got him in trouble. Nothing Jesus ever said himself was contrary to anything in the Old Testament. He was affirming things. Deuteronomy 6 contains the law. The rest of it's commentary. We're not supposed to do to anybody else anything we're not wanting to have done to ourselves. That was what Hillel thought about it. And when Jesus was asked, he told him the same thing, and that we need to love our brothers as ourselves. Shit. It's time for a spray. I'm real congested up here right now, and it gets hard. It's hard mucus. It's not just runny boogers. Where's my flu towel? That helped a little bit. You hear the difference? Oh, I don't know. I got some wet snot to move a little bit in there. Where's the fluter? That'll really get the wet snot going. There's one, but it's not open yet. Where's the open one? Shit. Yeah, these internet doctors. I've got this little, epidermoid cyst on my knee. That's maybe 3/8 inches in diameter, and I don't feel it, hardly notice it. It's just a cyst on my knee, and they think it's cancer. Ay. Where is this stuff? Shit. I got some in my purse, maybe. There it is. So let's see who's in the chatter at this point. What's going on? Anybody? Oh, a lot of people have been here. Oh, look, Sneasel's here. Get rid of the fuck stain. He's not welcome here. No, that better yet. Let's oh no, get rid of him. I don't even want to deal with any of that bullshit. Goodbye, Sneasel. You're an asshole. You're a fucking fetishistic maniac. You're insane. And I'm gonna fuck your world up real bad. You will continue to fail to fuck up my world, and I'm gonna destroy you. You're gonna end up dead or in jail. No, that isn't it. The plate has to come out. I need to quit smoking and the plate come out. Plain and simple. Fuck off, Sneasel. I mean, this dude, you really have some serious mental issues, son, and they're gonna catch up with you. Now, I'm not gonna spend much energy on you, and I'm not gonna allow you anywhere near my shit. I got too much going on with real people. And oh, looky here, Jennifer said something, but not much. I haven't seen her in a while. Let's see what else. This is my friend. I should read this fable. I have real friends who are like pretty prominent characters in the, in terms of, if everyone's just predator capitalist celebrity shit, I'm a real person. My friends are real people. D. Nighthawk Robinson is like a Cherokee speaker who is descended of Sequoia through a line of very prominent leaders. And he's a Indian hippie. He's been on, parallel path with me his whole life, where he's, in the music and arts crowd. I don't need to, especially not these irrationally white people. I mean, I'm really fucking totally fed up with irrationally white people and their religious fanaticism, either some major church or some major movement opposed to the church. Like, I have just fucking had it with LGBT atheists, because all the and some of the more hard-headed natives are this way too. It's like they've been fucked over by Christians, so they hate all religions. I'm done with that shit. I'm not wasting my time on people like that anymore. You're gonna, there are only two kind of people in the world. You're either nice or you're not. You're either living by the golden rule or you're not. Let me see what else I had lined up. Oh, this is it. This is some real top quality fucking work that I'm sure if they haven't reported on it yet, they will. But I don't know what's going on at Kiwi Farms in terms of their reporting on what's going on in Texas. Have they been covering the Texas legislator shit? Let's dig this. I got this off of Amber Briggle's page. Mahomet Seymour students look for statement against bullying from district. This is by one Danny Teets. Editor's note, because of the horrific nature of what Mahomet Seymour students went through on Thursday and Friday, the Mahomet Daily has elected to keep the names and identities of students anonymous in this article. All students are referred to as they, them, their, in order to maintain some anonymity for the minors. Accounts are provided by Mahomet Seymour high school students and social media posts that have been captured throughout the 2 days. The district was asked specific questions as to the reports collected by the Mahomet Daily. Their statement is included at the end of the article. Some Mahomet Seymour students want district administration to take a stand against hate after a string of assaults, both verbal and physical, took place toward the end of Spirit Week at the high school. They didn't make any statement, none at all, and they still haven't made any statement about the bullying the students said about the events at the high school. As part of Spirit Week, Thursday was designated as USA Day by the high school as it prepared to honor military and law enforcement at Friday's homecoming game against Lincoln. While many in the school were decked out in red, white, blue, or camo attire, one student chose to wear a pride flag to represent the LGBTQIA+ community in America. Prior to Friday morning, wearing flags to school was never an issue. In 2018, the district allowed students to wear the Confederate flag despite calls for the administration to remove offensive symbols from the school property. Students have also been allowed to wear pride flags or American flags and capes in the past, as well as flying flags from the back of their vehicles throughout the school year. Flags seemed to be allowed on Thursday, as one student was not asked to remove the flag that was worn all day draped over their shoulders. However, the student was targeted by peers, being called the F slur throughout the day, not for displaying the pride flag, but also for not standing during the Pledge of Allegiance, which reportedly the student had not done the entire year. The student was also referred to as it by other students in the classroom setting and on social media. The social media post read, "There's an it in my class, and it's wearing stuff for cosplay and LGBTQ flags at school. But today's theme for school is USA Day and won't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance." That's honestly so gosh dang disgusting and disrespectful. But effing grateful for what freedom this country has given you to even be dressed like that. I hope you trip up the stairs and drop your crap. I can't believe the school would allow this and let this fly by. It's really kind of nothing compared to some of the shit I've seen people say to LGBTQ and adults. I mean, that's kind of mild. That's kind of tame. Let's see if they really get nasty. Just a few hours later, the same student who heard another be referred to as it listened to a group talk at lunch about how pride flag infringed on other people's rights, other students' rights during USA Day. "It's supposed to be all about us," the student recalled the group saying. The student also heard at the other table plan an assault on the student with a flag. One of them was saying, "I just want to rip that flag off. I hate it so much." The other one was encouraging them, like, why won't you do it? And they were like, "Well, man, I'm thinking about it." And if they were Kiwi farmers or on the Kiwi farms, they would have been pushed and pushed and pushed until they got around to doing it. During the school day on Thursday, after watching some of the student body reaction to the pride flag and how they treated the wearer, many students began to wear, oh boy, they rallied together to wear pride gear on Friday. Two students put out a post on social media and went to the craft store on Thursday evening to buy beads for pride bracelets. That night, they took just short of 40 orders. Other students decided to wear other gear, including American flags or Trump attire, which is school on Friday. By the time Friday morning rolled around, students woke to word that a peer who was not involved with any of the discussions Thursday had been assaulted. The student posted on social media that they had been called the F slur throughout the day on Thursday. That same student posted that after school they had been knocked out at the knees. As they were on the ground, the assaulters started singing the Pledge of Allegiance over them. After seeing these posts, the call for solidarity could not have been stronger among the LGBTQIA supporters. Our whole motive is to support those who are bullied. It doesn't even come to matter if they're gay or LGBTQ at all. It's the fact that they're being bullied. This is what's really in recent years has driven a lot of people to us, is that folks who are not emotionally invested in eliminating same-sex relations and transgender people from the society because they don't give a crap. I see no point in getting upset about anybody's sexuality or gender identity. See us getting bullied like this, they just stand up on our side, getting people's righteous indignation up by, America, the government has always been the bully, but America, the people, have always stood up for the underdog. Yeah, our whole motive is to support those who were bullied. It doesn't even come to matter if they're gay or LGBTQ at all. It's effectively bullied. We wanted them to know that if you don't give love or support at home, there's love and support at school for you, another student said. It was beautiful how many people participated in wearing rainbow colors. That's what broke my heart. I was deeply upset because everyone was so excited. Everyone who participated wearing rainbow or their pride colors were so excited and so happy to be there and participating in it. Instead of feeling like Mom met Seymour High School is a safe place on Friday, one student is now questioning if the learning environment will ever be safe again. Ah, shit. One person got beat up a little bit. I mean, it wasn't like there was a big fucking rumble. They arrived at school before the doors opened with the pride flag weaved into the belt loop as fabric hung to their ankles. The student walked through the commons area, which at the time was scattered with staff, but still bare compared to how it would be moments later. There's no way the administrators could have not seen me, they said. I'm talking to my friends, I'm meeting new people, and then someone found out that there were rainbow stamps by the field house. So we're like, okay, let's go do that. The students knew they would have to travel back through the commons area, which would now be congested, to get to class in the next 10 or 15 minutes. So when 8:05 came, they headed back to the spot they began at in front of the auditorium in the commons. The student reports that the school administrators were near where they stopped. And then somebody behind me, I feel water on the back of my arm. I turn around and there are two boys. One of them wears a football jersey. I did not catch the number or anything because of the moment. They're reading Bible verses at me and throwing what I'm assuming is holy water. According to reports, sprinkling water and holding a Bible over students' heads while citing scripture is something those in the LGBTQIA community experience throughout the day. Boy, that's strange. I mean, if it got into a big rumble, sure. That was really weird. Students in the LGBTQIA community were also afraid to go to the restroom after the assaults. They're scared to be out of the eyes of a teacher. It's just disgusting, a student said. I want to say to these parents, those are the kids you're bringing to church every Sunday, who you think are these amazing kids, but they're coming to school and they're bullying kids for who they want to be. That's not what I believe in. I'm a Christian. I love God, but I know how to love people and respect them. While staff did not stop this assault, the assaulted student was told to take off the pride flag around their waist. The student's mother, who had already reviewed the district dress code prior to sending her kid to school, sought clarification on how the flag was in violation of what was laid out in policy. School dress code does restrict some clothing apparel, but while certain items are recognized as violations, flags are not. Students report that policy seemed to change in real time on Friday, as anyone who wore flags on Friday was asked to take them off. And if they did not, they were asked to leave school for the day. Some students were confused as to why they had to remove the flags after they received permission from the school officials the day before. Then you could just see that diminish as they walked in and were told to put their flags in the bag. That's what broke my heart. But being bullied around by some really stupid fascist bureaucrats. That's what this sounds like. At least there wasn't violence. This is just like religious microaggression. While a majority of students did take the flags off, including the student who was assaulted in front of the auditorium, one student refused to take the pride flag off when approached at lunch hour. Student called her mother early in the day, saying Friday might be the first day they got in trouble in school. Get into some good trouble, kid. Their administration's aim was that this is a distraction to the learning process, a student familiar with the situation said. But they were not distracting anything. They were quiet and didn't say anything. It's the other students who were distracting themselves from it and making a big deal. Jesus, this is like this. Okay, we're getting down toward the end of it. That's a pretty long thing for a news story. They were also told that there was a distinction when a flag was worn over the shoulders. According to the student administrator, cited district policy that states attire cannot be a distraction to the learning environment, pointing out that the colors on the flag were bright and noticeable. It's nothing but a coat or a cape, student said. Other people were allowed to wear capes with no issue. It was Orange and Blue Day, and there was a student, and there was nothing wrong with it. They were doing their part and doing Spirit Week. They wore a bright orange cape. And no issue, but they kept saying that the issue was the fact that we were wearing the cape. Students didn't understand why the sudden change, feeling it was directed at the LGBTQIA community, and they also didn't understand how parents and teachers throughout the community knew about the assaults that happened, yet in the high school staff did nothing about it, other than making students take off their flags. The student tried to explain the reason behind wearing pride gear on Friday, while also telling school officials that some students don't trust or open up to adults because they don't see any follow-through in words or actions. He made zero statements about the bullying that's been all over school. And the only thing these students have seen from you is taking away our pride flags. That is the only level of statement that we got at all. Students who wore a pride flag were not the ones targeted, though. Not the only ones targeted, though. There was a report of a student with a pride bracelet on getting water poured down their back during the football game on Friday night. We're not asking for them to completely be behind us because that's not fair to the other students, but we want them to say no to bullying of any kind is acceptable in the school and real actions will be taken. At the time of the interview, students believed that because the assaults took place on campus, they were outside of the scope of the law. But 720 ILCS 512 7.1, the Illinois hate crimes law states that crimes are committed by reason of the actual or perceived race, color, creed, or religion, ancestry, gender, blah, 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 and perceived race, color, creed, religion, ancestry, gender, sexual orientation, physical or mental disability, or national origin of another individual or group of individuals are also covered while on school grounds. Students say they haven't lost hope for Mahomet community yet. I guess this is in Illinois somewhere. I thought it was in Texas because I got it from one of the Texas ladies. We don't want this swept under the rug. We want it talked about. We want people to learn. We want Mahomet to change. We already had a bad rap for being racist and starting to get one for being homophobic. It's a great town with lots of loving people, but we also have a lot of people who are very mean. They're irrationally white. I got this from Jeannie Palmer tonight. She was talking about her. We were talking about her ancestry because she had been liking a couple of things from the Native community lately, and I was seeing her profile picture keep coming up, and I just noticed, she got a lot of Native blood in her. And I asked her about it, and she's a DAR on both sides, and her mother only had a solid history back to Civil War days, and there were no Native marriages in there, but they were 1600s they were here. So there's no telling what happened before they emerged into the modern era. And she was saying how her family was irrationally white on the track between Pennsylvania and Illinois, central probably the 80-90 track, probably 80 or 80, 40, US 40, US 20, US 40, all those roads went bunch of, that was the western expansion on the east side of the Mississippi River, was down those roads. Where were we? I'm going to stop saying LGBT. I'm going to say queer. I'm tired of the alphabet soup. My jaw's hurting. So some of the queer students said prior to Thursday they felt supported by the school district in the way that they took steps to accommodate different requests. They said teachers who are a safe space showed them in little ways like wearing a pride pin or making resources available. The students said that they could feel some of the teachers stand in unity with them on Thursday and Friday as events unfolded. The public display of colors also made students who may not have the support system at home or in the community feel like there was someone they could turn to. It helps show that there are people here who are just like them, a student said. The student who wore the flag on Thursday had two peers come up to say they thought that the student was brave for wearing the flag. I could never do that, a student nearby heard. You're amazing. It kind of opened my eyes. There's a lot more people in the closet and scared of the school than we realize. I think by the time it's all over, there's going to be about 20 people, or 20% of the people are going to reject the strict section, classical binary. It's like about 20%, and say, nah, that's not for us. You guys can go out and do it. See, that's where the problem is the queers think they're going to cure all the straight people of being hetero. And all the straight people think that they're going to cure the queers or kill them all, and you can't, because it's just you cannot change your gender, but you can change your sex organs. both your sex, you know, the XXXY shit. There's 6 karyotypes. It's not just 2. And biological sex, you know, they make this big noise about, well, I got a biological gender, man, and it's opposite my biological sex, and the shit just happens. You know, it's a recessive trait, and you know, there's nothing pathological about it, and you know, I'm not. It has nothing to do with like any like autogynephilia or any of this other stupid shit. There's suicide science, ROGD. You know, there's no social contagion. What's happening is that it's becoming safer for transgender and queer and intersex people to be visible. We're able to communicate with each other and get support from each other online. And this has been evolving. It's been accelerating since the 90s. You know, Kim Petras was born August 27, 1992, and raised as a girl. And this is a historic point, change point where, you know, up until that point in Western civilization, if a child presented as queer, they were forced into being straight. And in the 90s, the doctors are the ones that are responsible for all this. And, you know, it's not all these liberal, you know, it's not all liberal politicians and all this other happy shit. It was the doctors who recognized that conversion therapy was causing a lot of harm, and that they wanted to see. I mean, that's what the Hippocratic Oath is about. It's like, okay, well, the way we're treating them now isn't working. Let's try this. And they have, and it's been working amazingly well. It's all they really do is like for, you know, children, for small children to start saying that they're transgender. And it starts early, you know, as soon as Janice Jennings opened her mouth, it's like, I'm a girl. Starts real early. And, you know, instead of suppressing that, they're saying, okay, well, let the kid make their own choice about their haircut and what they wear and what they play with and who they play with. And just watch and wait. And, you know, see the 3 words, the 3 key words is persistently saying that they're transgender, persistently insisting that they're transgender, and consistently expressing in that gender role before they're even, you know, that they have to meet that persistent, and consistent criteria before they move to the next step in treatment and start getting any chemicals. And surgery is just out of the question until they're 18. But the blockers are totally reversible, and the success rate with HRT is like nearly 100%. The success rates with the surgeries are nearly 98%. And all this ROGD desistance, I should get to that and read that shit too. Oh, baby. I've had a busy weekend once I got rid of the idiots. Yeah, thanks, Jacob. I don't want to waste any time with idiots. You know, their opinion of me is their opinion of me, and I don't give a fuck what they think of me, and I don't want them around me because there are people that think highly of me. So fuck off, guys. You know, Tucson bailiff. They think I'm in trouble because I haven't paid a pot bill. There's a I'll get that thing vacated. Weed's legal now, and now it's just a pop in the alley behind a concert. And there, I'll bet you anything, Mr. Sneasel, that as soon as I check on it, I'm gonna be able to get rid of it. I'm gonna be able to get it expunged, fuckhead. They think I'm gonna get arrested and shaken down for $1,000 and all this happy crap. medicine winner that I found on this is Kiwi Farms. I'm not going to play it.
They're not going to do therapy. It's
What we have
part
here,
of the
any of you guys ever heard of this Mr. Menno? Kind of a disingenuous gay guy, transphobic, disingenuous gay guy. So this is three fathers share their challenges raising ROGD kids, which for those of you who don't know, that's rapid onset gender dysphoria, theory by someone named Lippman that's been debunked. You know, it's been rejected on peer review because their method was invalid. You know, it's biased sample where all they interviewed was people that had trans kids that they didn't support. The findings are just totally fucking useless. And here's his intro. What's it like for a dad when their teenage son or daughter becomes here? I'll give you the link so you guys can listen to it if you want later. Thank you, Jacob. My toxic fans think that I'm totally insane and full of shit on all of this stuff. But you know what? I haven't even got to that yet. I don't know if you saw it, but gosh, so much has happened today and yesterday. This weekend's just been like, are you serious? Is that for real? Oh my God. Bannon admitted to the January 6th conspiracy. Some classified documents come out talking about the gain of function research and how the virus was. I haven't read the details yet, but like basically, the virus was a biological agent, engineered biological agent that was transferred illegally to Wuhan, where it escaped by accident. This is the most credible theory of what happened, and Fauci's been on the stand lying about it. But back to this one, because me and these folks really mixed it up a little bit. So I didn't see Mr. Menno, I haven't transwatched any other culture, you fucking F word. You transphobic FAGGOT motherfucker. Okay? That's what you are. You and the TERFs, the lesbians, the frustrated lesbians, we fought for you for 40 fucking years to gain your right to be holding hands and kissing each other and getting married legally and safely. Obergefell versus Hodges. From that point on, once you homosexual L's and G's had your rights, you left all of us, you turned your back on all of us, and you're the ones with the money. And people like you are selling us out, throwing us under the bus. Fuck you. Here in this Mary Beth Gaskill. Two-Spirit is nothing to hear. What I wrote was it was insidious propaganda supporting the ongoing transgender genocide. That is what here's somebody said, this was a valuable conversation. Thank you. And I said it was insidious propaganda supporting the ongoing transgender genocide that's been happening for at least the past 500 years. Did you know that it was the Two-Spirit Native Americans who were slaughtered first by the colonizers? and see these comments. And here's this Joey Bright. This is hilarious shit. These people are just filled, with invalid scripture interpretations, belief in discredited pseudoscience, belief in obsolete biology, and paranoid delusions. This is what they're standing on. Those are the four legs of their table. Your transwashing of other cultures is appalling. And you're calling what I said transwashing is an intellectually dishonest and irrational ad hominem fallacy. I'm a two-spirit Native American. What I just said was true. Okay, so here's this Joey Bright. Transgender genocide. That is the popular current propaganda you got going on there. Lol. Don't you all know already that any of these ridiculous lies you propagate show nothing but a desperate attempt to cling to regret you got on board with the social hysteria in the first place? Then to add insult to injury, the whole two-spirit mess you're copying and pasting just look you down further. Lordy, I didn't copy and paste anything. I just made statements, you fucking intellectually dishonest ass clown. Another FAGGOT, transphobic faggots. That's all you people are. Fucking dykes and ass fucking faggots. Coming down on us where, like, the majority of transgender people that I'm aware of, intersex gender people I'm aware of are monogamous and heterosexual, motherfucker. Okay? I'm sick and fucking tired of this. We stood up for your right to be same-sex attracted and to engage in any kind of fucking weird sex that you want to behind closed doors, and you fucking idiots bring it out on the street every year and nobody says anything. I'm sick and fucking tired of you people like throwing us under the bus with bullshit like that. So here's Chrissy T, who asked me, why don't, and I could have sworn I answered a bunch of these. And they just disappeared. My comments disappeared. I responded to this Chrissy T. She said, why don't you ask Native Americans whether they want to be included in the trans umbrella? For all the talk about intersectionality from some folks, they are very single folk, middle class, and completely disinterested in the real challenges facing people on welfare, the unemployed, people experiencing disability, indigenous people, et cetera, et cetera. It's all about the trans. Interesting to hear from parents who are in the midst of the craze that will pass, but not before loss of damage is done. This is no craze, woman. And the Native Americans were a very powerful motive force. The two-spirit is just a single English word that is the collection of LGBTQ identified Native indigenous people that have like 500 different words for fags in their language. And so, like, all queer, and some of them, I've talked with Ojibwe and Lakota and Tohono and Patsy people about this extensively. That your rigid heteronormative sex gender binary is what's unnatural. Okay, that's what's unnatural. That's what's mentally ill. And the natives, the Two-Spirit people, that's a consensus that was reached in the early 90s at a transcontinental LGBT indigenous conference. So I don't know where you get your shit from, but the Two-Spirit people were very much a part of the struggle for queer equality. So here's what I said. Here's we get to the ROTD theory. I think a lot of my comments seem to have disappeared. This is what I was responding to. The ROTD theory has been thoroughly debunked on peer review, and there is no social contagion sweeping Western civilization. What you are witnessing is the emergence of the first generation of happy trans people and reasonably well-adjusted trans adults, because the doctors put their foot down in conversion therapy, converting to the very effective affirmative protocols. The science is settled and the law nearly so. We have always been here, and we're not going back to the way it was because of anybody's religious belief or obsessions with obsolete biology. Transgender people are meeting with each other and raising families by natural childbirth. I've been sharing Dana Sultana's story around. It's a beautiful story. It's like there's two transgender intersex models, performance artists in was it Brazil or Argentina or something like that? I forget which. But these are very successful. Dana, I don't know what her husband's name is, but he carried the baby. He carried her sperm. They might have had some help making that happen. But I guess all they had to do was go off the hormones for a little while, and she got him pregnant. And I see also, Corey Mason is running around with a trans man, making porn. Who else? Gosh, and it's interesting to watch because I've seen these kids since they were kids, watch their families and them grow, and boy, some of them went off into porn just so fast. One Brittany Cade, she got big old dick that she's keeping. And then Capri Culpepper got she's the girl that in South Carolina won her right to have the have wear makeup on her driver's license picture. She's down in Miami now. She's had some really serious work done on her, and she's a high ticket call girl. I think she's not saying it out loud, but boy, it's sure what it looks like on the videos. Emily Tressa seems to be seems to like the drag scene. She got hers done. I'm trying to think of who's keeping them. That's prominent. What's her name? Ivancho, Julia, and I forget which one's the older one and which one. One's younger and one's transgender. Julia, and I think that's JM is her initials. She had a boyfriend I think she still got him. That was a boyfriend when she still had her thing. But she's been converted. And you can't. I mean, all this argument about you're a biological male. So I've been a biological female in my head all my life. Okay, I'm a biological male below my belt, and I don't deny that. But these people, transgender people are like it's an intersex condition of the brain, basically. It's like we have the programming for female behavior in our brains. Is all that's going on, and there's no specifically male or female brain either. It's a mosaic of structures that come together into a gender, into gendered behavior and physical form and all that. You know, this is it's a collective thing, and it's on a spectrum. You know, there are naturally effeminate men and naturally masculine women, and people just gotta like accept that and let us live our lives. This is where it's at. So back to this. Transgender children are meeting each other and raising families. The child abusers are men like this who deny their child's self-identity. Jeffrey Younger lost all access to his transgender daughter, who he insisted on calling by her dead name, because he is such a misinformed grifter who used his child to enrich himself. The desistance rates with people who have a proper treatment team are extremely low. Are extremely low. And because people who shouldn't get blockers, hormones, or surgery aren't given it. What is correct here is that there are young transgender adults counseling trans youth on how to self-medicate or how to tell the doctors what they want to hear to give them the hormones and surgery. This is an issue of great concern among advocates and gender care providers. There has not been one testimonial from any detransitioner I've seen where the person has been given proper medical care. There are definitely unethical doctors that are fast-tracking some of these girls into mastectomies. That is totally wrong. Walk in the door, get a prescription for tea that day. 6 months later, they lop off their boobies. That's fucked up, and this is where the desistance is coming from. So here comes Mr. Memo back. The ROGD theory has not been debunked on peer review at all. The fuck you say, dude. Totally trashed. I got that too. In fact, the re-review and reinforced that proper methodology had been followed for Lisa Littman's study. The results section is unchanged. I'd like to see that. It is valid to research social trends, and it is valid to find descriptors to describe new phenomena. The more we understand about different manifestations about gender dysphoria, the better. Wouldn't you agree? No. The sample was totally skewed because the only people she interviewed were parents that did not support their children. Wait till you hear what the doctors had to say about it. So my answer is absolutely not. And here's what actual ethical researchers have to say about it. It's transphobic pseudoscience with genocidal intent, rejected by the authorities that certified standards of care, just like Blanchard, Money, Myron, McHugh. So here it is. The term rapid onset gender dysphoria was coined in 2016 to describe an alleged epidemic of youth coming out as trans out of the blue due to social contagion and mental illness. The term reflects a deliberate attempt to weaponize scientific sounding language to dismiss mounting empirical evidence of the benefits of transition. This article offers an introduction to the theory of ROGD and its history, presents a detailed critique of the empirical and theoretical claims associated with the theory, and highlights structural concerns with the ROGD discourse. The article argues that claims associated with ROGD, including assertions of declining mental health and degrading familial relationships following coming out, are best explained by the leading ROGD studies recruitment of parents from trans antagonistic websites against a background of growing visibility and social acceptance of trans people. ROGD theory is best understood as an attempt to circumvent existing research demonstrating the importance of gender affirmation, relying on scientifically sounding language to achieve respectability. Apparently, the comment and it never will be a recognized. I'm just going to downstroke him. So here's the names of YouTube channels of detransitioners. are Waffling Willow, Mac Wells, The Honesty Project, Peak Resilience Project, a channel called TTXL Nancy has critiques of the clips from post-op kids who have had terrible infections and side effects. Gosh, do you realize how small a portion of the YouTube transgender community is bitching about it? Five of them, boy. I got that many channels that hate me. Ay. So what else we got going on here? Hi, Al. I don't recall if I blocked you. There was a reason for it, Al. What did you want to talk to me about? I got no time for anybody who's being confrontational and talking shit about me, or I just like, if you're coming at me to give me like any kind of shit about who I am, or what I say, that's not rational argument that I'm not going to engage in anymore. So I'm not going to unblock anything until like you let me know what you want. What's the main thing that I've been seeing with the DK transitioners is, you got these groups where the responsible groups are being led by the actual advocates and local organizers like myself and like Brianna Phillips, who runs the what's it called, the trans people and the allies who support them, and then Cora Duncan has the, and Kelly Winters with the International Trans. I mean, they're responsible adults, not militant, militants trying to fight with turfs. And it's about, we fought for 50 years from Stonewall on, and it really started before Stonewall. There were a lot of little skirmishes by rainbow people in the 50s while being queer was illegal, and the 60s before Stonewall. The first historical big event was the Compton cafeteria, not Stonewall, where what was happening then is that it was illegal to be cross-dressing in public. So when the transgender people showed up at the gay bars, they were making it possible for, they're giving probable cause to the cops to come and raid the places. So the gay bars didn't like the trans folk in there. And in the Tenderloin district, they ended up going to Compton cafeteria, which didn't mind. But then what would happen is after bar time, there'd be rumbles. Then the gay guys showed up at the Compton cafeteria and people get into fights, and fight got out of hand one night and they had to call the cops, and that was the Compton riot. With Stonewall, it was the same situation, and they were getting tired of people getting busted. And gosh, I gotta memorize her name. There was when they dragged a drag queen out of the bar, Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson started pitching shot glasses and shit. When they loaded this drag queen, I forget his name or her name, but because like she was a drag queen and a lesbian, so identified as a cis person. She didn't identify as a trans man. This was a drag queen that started a Compton thing getting busted. And the legend says that Sylvia and Marsha were the ones first shot glasses, and then the second night people were throwing bricks. But it was always the transgender people, the gender nonconforming people, that had led the fight for transgender equality. All three of those people went on to, create advocacy organizations that still stand today. Gay pride evolved into a sausage party, corporate sausage party, basically, to the point where like the really politically motivated people that are struggling for gay equality, for queer equality, have broken off in different towns to do their own events, where they just like don't have anything to do with that gay pride thing. And the bottom line, for me, and all the, I followed the literature all my life, and the main thing that transgender people, I never was even exposed to intersex, the intersex people who knew what it was until after I came out about 10 years ago, and people recognized the element in my backstory. I said, "Oh, you're intersex." So I've learned about that in the last 10 years. But all my life, I followed the writings about transsexuals, and yeah, right. That's what it's come down to, the political aspect of it, and they go and pinkwash everything, and marketing their fucking shit and trying with the rainbow cookies and everything. They're just trying to exploit it. They're not doing anything for us. Where was I though? I lost my train of thought with that comment of yours. But let's get back to the main topic of the detransitioners. I mentioned how the kids, the internet is what is responsible for this. The doctors are responsible for starting it by converting to the affirmative protocols, and then the internet is what brings them together. So we're able to talk to each other about what's up with us, and what our experience was growing up, and how we feel about ourselves, and all this other happy shit. And seeing those people, there's lots of people in the closet, because the strict heteronormative sex gender binary is fucking unnatural. Super straight people are probably super straight because they're super suppressing their other side. They're super suppressing their bisexual urges, and or their role, the gender swapping urges. It's all the transphobia and homophobia comes from super straight people that aren't sure of themselves. The louder any church or any pastor or congressman or coach talks out against anti-queer things, the more likely the guy is going to get caught queer or have his dick in the wrong place. It's self-loathing. We've been peer conditioned for 1,000 years to believe in this doctrine of discovery, that if you claim it in the name of the church, you own it, and then you get to do whatever the fuck you want with it. So it's like, no, man, the earth belongs to God and the creator, and we're just part of it, and we cannot control it. We need to live within it. We need to follow the rules. And they're like, no, fuck, we're going to make up our own rules. And now we've knocked the carbon cycle so far out of balance that the planet's just forcing it back into it. And if we don't green if we don't green everything and restore biodiversity everywhere, the planet's just going to keep burning everything and flooding it until it's all fixed. That's just good. The floods and the fires just keep getting worse. So what's happening is you've got all these kids. They're like, oh, okay, I'm transgender. Now I want to go do that. I want to go transition. And a lot of people are promoting self-medication, which is real fucked up. And there are a lot of like cosmetic surgeons and OBGYNs that are yeah, right. Oh, did I mention? Oh, yeah, I started this out with a service from you. So you guys know about Myron Dewey. Fatal car accident. I'm keeping an eye on that story because I think he had help, like crashing the car. I want to know how that car crashed before I shut up about this. But anyway, so you got all these people, all these groups, encouraging these people and telling them how to, they teach them how to tell the doctors what they need to know to be able to get the hormones and surgery. there's all these OBGYNs. I'm not sure what the deal is at Planned Parenthood. I probably should call them and like fake being somebody, fake being a young transgender girl or something. See what they'll talk to me on the phone about. Because there are like standards of care that have been developed by the WHO and by WPATH and a bunch of universities around that are pretty rigid. Well, they're not rigid, but they're they have standards of that insistence, consistent persistence. There's certain things you got to demonstrate. I think there's COGIATI still, or COGI. I forget what it means. COGIATI. They've got tests, psychological tests, to determine the intensity of somebody's gender dysphoria. Because again, it's a spectrum where none of us are the same. And these practitioners are fast tracking the kids. When I first came out in Texas, now I fought I'm a victim of a lifetime of medical malpractice is what's going on with me. And that's where that's at. They carved on me, and then they diagnosed me as being like everything under the sun except gender dysphoria. I've been fighting off the psych establishment's fucking drugs since I was 8 years old. And I guess it was about, it had to be about 2008 or so, 2007, 2008. I'll come out to the, we reached an impasse with the state hospital. Because the cops kept scooping me up and tossing me on the state hospital because when they couldn't bust me for some criminal thing, they just, oh yeah, you're nuts. And they threw me out of the hospital. And I reached an impasse with the director of medicine over weed, where they couldn't force anything on me unless like they got a court order, and there was no way they could get a court order because I wasn't nuts. I mean, I'm nuts, but I'm not insane. I'm not a danger to anybody. I could take care of myself. And so I finally I come on to him and said, look, I'm transgender. I really need hormones. Is what I need for my mental health. And he's like, well, we don't treat that. So he referred me to and this is all in an interview I gave. I hope she'll be. I don't know. She sent me something. I don't know if it's the whole transcript or I don't know. I was interviewed by someone in the University of South Carolina. I got a $40 gift card for it too. But what was I saying? Gosh, I forgot where I was. Oh, I was a victim of medical malpractice all my life. And so they sent me this clinic. And there was only one gender clinic in all of Dallas at the time. And I went to them, and they're telling me that I had to, for a year, present in the gender role I was saying I was wanting to present in before they'd give me any hormones. And I'm like, well, I really need this for my mental health right now. And by the time I was able to shave off my beard, my body was so far gone, and I had no teeth left, and my hair was all thinned out and bald and stuff. There was just, I wasn't going to go to the expense and effort to go all hyper feminine and have my hair right and my makeup. All these trans people in their tutorials. Oh, I'm doing my hair and I'm doing my makeup. It's like, fuck, I want to roll out of bed, wash my hands and face, shit, shower, shave, and get on with the day, and not be worried about like my gender presentation. So this is what and this is where like most of the trans people I know, expectations of that of performance in terms of presentation of like a masculine or feminine look. The amount of time that I see these children, these young people, and even older people, I mean, all ages, trans people. I mean, they're just so narcissistic sometimes. When I just want to like, okay, my best days are days that I don't have to discuss this with anybody. Doesn't come up. Or my best days, I don't have to think about it. And this is I'm me. I'm Tommy. I don't want to have to explain myself to everybody. What else can I say? So what else? That's plenty of that for now. Well, is your girlfriend A or F, A, B? I mean, we're talking about someone who's assigned male or female. But this is the that's the basic native sentiment that you're going to hear from Honor the Earth, and I don't know more. And the water protectors and land back folks, we borrow the earth. We can't own it. We return it to it in the end. We borrow the earth from our children. Let's not trash it. That's the native position. But she detransitioned. You mean she got off hormones? See, there are trans people that live for decades without any hormones at all, or surgery, anything. They just and they're passable. That's okay, but that's not detransitioning, really. She still considers herself transgender. She just stopped the hormones for some reason. Okay. Yeah, she just, the hormones, there's no rules for being transgender. It's about, and there's no rules. Yeah, everybody's individually crafted and everybody makes their own decisions on how they're going to present themselves. Everybody's orientation, everybody's gender expression, it's all valid. And if you don't like it, don't look. And don't be telling people they don't want to hear about themselves just because you don't like what they're doing. That's just crap. Love is love. It doesn't matter if you're two people that love. I'm real demisexual, and you're not going to get me turned on just by being sexy looking. I mean, this is not the way I work. The only way my junk's going to work is if my brain lets it. My brain wants it to. Yeah, well, that's what's important. That's where it's important. I was talking about this earlier with somebody where I think it was. Let me go back to my feed, my page. Let me read down there because I've made some comments to some things. Yeah, like here. Let me just go down my wall. There's from George Takei. Children begin by loving their parents. As they grow older, they judge them. And sometimes they forgive them. And that's a quote from Oscar Wilde to, I don't know if did George write this? Okay, no, this was just on his page. This is by a guy named Thomas Dane. Where it was people explain how their parents failed them while they were growing up. And I shared this with the comment that my father and I forgave each other for what was done to me and how I responded to it in the last years of his life. And I was real lucky to have parents like I did at that time because parents all hit their children. Spare the rod and spoil the child. But my parents were just, like my mother would give you a swat in the ass. She hardly ever hit us more than once. 5 times at the most. Spanking us with her hand. And then she quit doing that when we got too big and she was hurting her hand. Which was no good for us because she'd keep a list for my dad when he got back from out of town, which he was out of town half the month on sales trips. But dad wasn't much worse. He just hit us anywhere from 1 to 5 times with a belt. You know, some of the violence in the I've witnessed, you know, firsthand accounts on is horrifying. The things that are still being done to transgender children and homosexual children. Less of it, you know, in America at least, it's getting better. But just, you know, I was lucky. My parents weren't real violent. They were just like, you know, doing what was culturally normal at the time. And he came to understand later in his life, you know, a trans guy fell in love with me in 2018. While that was going on, my parents and I made peace because they started to understand what I am. Now, unfortunately, my brother and sister are terrified of the not so nice Tommy that would come out when people were like imposing their will on me against my consent. And I tried to explain to them both, it's like, you know, you're afraid of something that people make me into. You've never given me a chance to be myself as me, you know, they turned their children against me. God knows what they tell their children about me. I doubt I've ever even been mentioned to the grandchildren. That wasn't the one I wanted. Here's a map of all the countries that Britain has invaded. And there's only about 10 countries in the world they've never invaded. 10, 12. And my comment to that was if Americans were all honest with themselves, they would realize that the American Revolution just broke with the crown. The Bank of England and the Vatican Bank have been running this shit show from Europe straight along. And this was cool, where somebody in Hobby Lobby in Texas with these big decorative letters set them up to say, abort Abbott. And then the Myron Dewey story. And then this is what I said about, oh no, this is different. This is a different story. Oh, fuck, this is a different story. I forgot about this one. There were 2 teachers in Irving, Texas, who put rainbow stickers. Apparently, the teachers around the country are giving little signals to the kids that they're safe to talk to. And one of them being rainbow flag sticker on the door. So the school district come down on them and made them remove it. But like just for the fucking stickers on the door, these two teachers were terminated. So they're protesting, trying to get them reinstated. I got a bunch of stuff. I got several. You know, I saw the story about the DARPA thing. I haven't read the documents yet. I saw the story about the DARPA thing. Well, let's go. Let me find the first time I saw it. I might have seen it a couple of days ago and nobody was paying attention. But this morning it got a little out of hand as some people started arguing about it. And I went looking, and apparently, here, let's play this clip. This is Mike Gallagher a Republican from Wisconsin. Where's the video? I don't want to read this whole fucking thing on. No, I ain't reading the. My mouth is starting to hurt, and I've been on over 2 hours, and I'm getting inflamed, and I really probably should just cut this off soon. Shit. I was hoping this doesn't have. Is this video? No. Fuck. I was hoping that was a video.
This is Rep. Michael Gallagher from Wisconsin today called on federal agencies to publish all data and documents related to the EcoHealth Alliance's work with the Wuhan Institute of Virology after reports from their drastic research indicated the EcoHealth Alliance had applied for funds that would allow them to further modify coronavirus spike proteins and find potential furin cleavage sites. Furin cleavage sites are a unique component of the COVID-19 virus that allows it to more easily infect and replicate in human cells. Some researchers have pointed this feature as evidence the virus could have been engineered in a lab. There was something about bats in the documents where there was some, where they thought they were gonna, by infecting the bats with this, they were gonna reduce the bats' ability to infect people. I don't know what the fuck. I'm like not able to process those details because there are so many of these stories coming at me at once. And I think best, it's after midnight. I'm a little hungry. My face is hurting, and you're the only one here. So I think I'm looking at your. Yeah, I got these. I just haven't had a chance to read it. I've got this stuff on my wall. But thank you. And I really think since you're the only one here and my face hurts, thanks for coming, Jacob. Happy day. Good night. And then you're too slow on the draw, so I'm going to cut it off right there. Boom.